If you're new to Google Ads or you're just getting into Google Ads to see how you can scale your business, this video is for you. What I'm going to do is go through the different campaign types that are going to be more of the main campaign types. There are a couple others not mentioned in this presentation, but those you're rarely ever going to use, if ever anyways. So really going to go over the campaign types that we've used to generate over $100 million for our e-com clients. And that way you know what to go after first and can scale into Google the right way. So the first slide is really going to be going after the different types that we're really talking about here. So first is going to be search. Search is going to be really the backbone of Google Ads. PPC is what Google Ads is known for. It's what dominated the space with advertising for the last, decades. So very, very important. It's also very relevant to nowadays when it comes to scaling strategies, because a lot of what we're going to build out, especially trying to find different types of traffic that work, can be controlled on the search side, and it gives you a lot of control as far as the quality of traffic. We'll talk about that. Next is going to be display. Display, in short, is going to be anytime you're showing visual, most cases image ads, to the display network, which are going to be different placements we'll talk about. Next is YouTube. Pretty self-explanatory. These are going to be video ads. They're on actually youtube.com. There are different networks they might show on, but in most cases, it's going to be on YouTube. And then last is going to be PMax, which is a newer addition to the campaign type family. PMax is considered Google's omnipresent type of campaign. It means performance max campaign. So it's really letting Google's algorithm do more of the work. And there's going to be different things you'll play into that. We'll explain that on that slide. So the first thing is going to be search. Search is, like I said, the most traditional type of campaign. This is PPC, cost per click, all these terms you hear about when talking about Google Ads. And when it comes to search, you're going to have the search network, and then you have Google's partnership network on the search campaign type. In almost all cases, we stay away from Google's partnership networks because it's going to allow the ads to show on all these different websites that Google's partnered with. We only want to show the ads starting on google.com. That way you get the highest quality of traffic. But it's always going to show in the above or below section of Google search results. When people search something relevant to what they're looking for, you'll see the text ad that'll be on the top or bottom, depending on what factors will allow you to show in those placements. But that's going to be a traditional text ad. There are a couple different ways to build those ads nowadays. The most popular is going to be a dynamic search ad. Back in the day, you'd have set titles and descriptions you'd plug in, a couple variations of each. But nowadays, Google wants to have a little more control. So you're going to give it titles you write, you're going to give it descriptions, which can be the different text placements, and then Google will rotate them around depending on what actually is working best in the campaign and the ad type. When it comes to search as well, you're almost exclusively going to use keyword targeting. Keyword targeting is going to be identifying the keywords that people search you want to show the ads for, and then making sure your ad shows for those. There's a whole lot of different aspects of this conversation, but that's the premise of it. You're going to pick keywords based off intent of people searching certain things that lead you to believe they might be likely to convert, and then your ad's going to show for those on those placements. You're going to try to take as much placement as you can, as long as you're converting and making money. When you're going to use this is really when you want to find proof of concept and scalability on the more targeted side of Google Ads, because you have the ability of going after search keywords specifically and showing ads for specific terms. It gives you the most control on the platform of who you're going to show the ad to. And because of that, Google's very black and white on the search side as far as what's working, why it's not working, why it is working, what levers do you have to pull to problem solve, where the bottlenecks are. It makes it very easy to do that on search because you know the quality of traffic, unlike other platforms like Facebook, let's say Instagram, or even YouTube, where you know what audience you're showing it to, but you don't know exactly the type of audience as far as what they're thinking in their mind. When it comes to search, you have the ability to go after the intent, and we talk about intent in other videos as well, more in depth. Next is going to be display. Display is definitely less used in more modern strategies because you have the locked-in ability of the display network. And on search, you can actually check a little box off that says, I don't want to be on the search partnership network. On display campaigns, you cannot do that. So Google's saying, if you want to run display, it's going to show on all these different websites on the internet, and it's going to lock you into that. And because of that, a lot of the times you get very poor quality of traffic with display, and very, very, very rarely ever will you see display actually convert unless you have fixated targeting, whether it's remarketing or after certain placement. But in most cases, display is just going to waste your money because it shows to all these different partnership networks. It might show on apps. You're going to get garbage traffic. It's going to show it's engaging really well on the front end, but it never actually converts. So we stay away from it in most cases. With targeting, though, you can go after warm audiences. It can be after people who have gone to your website, made purchases, seen different forms of content. You can go after people who go to certain websites. This is a lot more useful on like the YouTube side, which we'll talk about. But there's a whole lot of different audience types outside of the actual keyword targeting, which you can technically do keyword targeting. It's just building a keyword audience that's used as a custom audience. We'll talk about that as well. But like I said, the only time you really want to use this is if you're going to do like fixed audiences. If it's warm audiences where you know the people it's going to be shown to is locked in on that, that's when you want to use it. You do not want to use it in most cases for cold targeting because of those issues. So next is YouTube. When it comes to YouTube, YouTube's going to be primarily video-based placements. There used to be different options back in the day, but nowadays there's one main placement type for YouTube video ads, and then it's going to decide where it puts those on the different placements of YouTube, as opposed to giving you, a bunch of choices like it used to. So it makes it a little easier for new advertisers, but at the same point, it gives you less control because YouTube's going to decide where the ad goes. But it does make it a little easier in the sense that you only need one main type of video. There's of course going to be different creation types of the different videos you're going to use and different split tests and things of that nature, but they're all going to have the main placement, which is going to allow you to dwindle down the amount of recording you need to do. The types of targeting is very vast. It's kind of like on the display side. Not only can you do custom audiences based off of keywords people are searching, you can go after what people are searching on YouTube. You can go after what's really cool, people who watch certain channels, who watch certain videos. If you want to get very fixated, if you have a product that resonates really well with a popular video people are watching, you can tell YouTube that you only want to show your ad on that video. It will cost you more, but if it converts, it's all relative, right? So there's some really unique ways to target there. We won't get into all the different types of custom audiences, but there's going to be in market, which are people in the market of doing something or looking for something. There's a whole lot of different audiences you can choose in there. I always recommend kind of going through Google's options and seeing what's out there before you choose one. That way you know all different options. There's affinity, which people who have the affinity to something, how they interact with their videos, which is going to be kind of more on the warm audience side. Like if you have a channel and you're trying to show up people ads who watch your videos, subscribe to your channel, watch them in the last 30 days, whatever it is, you can do that. And then also warm audiences based off of your business or store, which could be people who convert, you're trying to remarket to them. It could be people who visit your store and don't convert and you want to keep showing them assets. So a lot of flexibility here. And with YouTube, the key is testing a lot and cutting those tests off quickly when you see they work or they don't work. So if you are going to do YouTube, make sure you have a spread of different audience types that we can test them all and see what works the best. We call this high risk, high reward because it's a lot harder to crack what works on YouTube. But when you do crack that, you're going to have a lot of room to scale and it's going to make you a lot of money. So it's worth the effort if you go into it with the intention that it's going to be high effort and it's also going to suck some money in on the front end. But once you find through that testing what works, then you can go on the back end and make a ton of money. Last is going to be PMAX. So PMAX is, like I mentioned, the omnipresent campaign type. It's newer to the world of Google. They took it out of beta. I believe it's been maybe a year and a half, 2 years now. And it's very, very strong in certain areas. So one's going to be e-com. If you have an e-com store, this is generally going to pull a lot of action to your store as far as conversion value and conversions because it shows on the shopping network and then also shows on all these different other networks we'll talk about. When it comes to PMAX, like I mentioned, it's omnipresent. So you're going to give it a ton of different assets. It'll be written assets. It'll be visual assets like video creatives, pictures, be the logo, a couple different other variations. But the key is to give it as many assets as possible that are high quality because it's going to judge the success based off of what it can show to people and what works the best. So the more assets you can give them and the better assets you give the campaign type, the better it's going to operate, which is going to make you more money. The other type is going to be on local business. This is going to allow the campaign to show for like the map pack. So if you go to Google and you search contractor near me, you'll see the map with a couple different options, which will show the reviews with it. There'll also be a sponsored placement there too. Really great for local PMAX action because if you get in that map pack, it carries a lot of weight. If people see your client or your business has, in the placement there, number one, and it shows you have 100 5-star reviews, people are going to be inclined to go through you. You do have to be a little careful because you will get a couple issues with sometimes spammy type traffic. And there's a whole different sequence of how we react to that. But the local business PMAX does tend to be a little finicky. So if you are going to run it, make sure to have a strong gauge on the quality of traffic and leads that are coming in the business. And then we talked about assets needed already. Like I said, there's going to be assets for all of the main channel types, and you're going to want to make sure that they're the highest quality possible and the most amount that you can put in. And I've already mentioned newest edition. So the next is really going to be what we consider the Holy Trinity. So Holy Trinity is basically the 3 campaigns that we launch in most cases for most new accounts that come on with our agency. It's going to be a PMAX, a search high intent campaign, which is going to be grouping of keywords based off of high intent, low hanging fruit type of keywords, and then search branded. Search branded always has a minority of the spend, but let's say if you have a $100 per day spend, 40 of it might go to PMAX, 40 might go to search high intent, and then 20 or 10 might go to search branded, depending on how you divvy it up. But the key is, you launch initially with the split, and then based off of the reaction of the data and how things are doing, then you can move budget around and enhance what's working, cut down on what isn't. The search side, it's going to always go after the keywords that should convert at the highest rate, but you will constantly expand into new campaigns and different keyword groupings after this launch. It's just a matter of trying what should work best first, and then from there growing. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. I'll get to them myself. Otherwise, looking forward to you watching the next video.